inside, have a cup of tea, come on in. What's an OT? Or other things that we're from. Times will say, by the way, there's been a couple of umbrellas found. So, yeah, they'll be found at the front desk. Now, it's great to see so many people here from abroad. But you mightn't have a couple of fuckle. Yes, I did say fuckle. And fuckle, as you all know, is the Irish word for word. Word of. So it's what you would say word of fuckle suus. You can have hours of fun using that word. Anyway, the whole idea, if you haven't been to a Gasta before, if you've all been at conferences, and my God, people won't shut up. And you have the chairperson frantically waiting 2 minutes, 1 minute, and someone's going, yeah, I'm there. And you know there's 6 or 7 more slides. You know they're not going to shut up. So that's where the genesis of the Gasta started. With me, you see all this stuff here with lightning talks, and yeah, there's all these lightning talks, and they're not going to work because they're still going to be talking. Here, our presenters know they'll be counted in Pascal, but they'll also be counted out Pascal. So 5 minutes literally means 5 minutes. So we're going to count everybody in. Hain, do, 3, car, cooey, which is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'm going to do a little practice there. You will then shout Gasta. I will then sit down when the clock starts. I'll be sitting down here. My colleague, compatriot friend, Katrina Comforter, will be acting here as timekeeper. So when you're stopped, blame her, not me, and blame the crowd, not me. I'm really... The Irish word for one is hain. That was piggy. That was absolutely pathetic. The Irish word for one is hain. Hain. Pretty good. The next one is do for 2. Do. 3, that's the hard one. 3. Now, very tough. 4 is catter. That's not bad. We try that one again. Catter. And 5 is cooey. And then we put it together. We ready? Hain, do, 3, car, cooey. Excellent. Then, when the time is up, I'll count it. So the speakers there, when the 10 starts. Shouldn't have sat down. My apologies. So I won't sit down. I stand back up with 10 seconds to go. When you see me stand up, you have 10 seconds to finish off. If you don't finish at that time, I will get the whole crowd to shout, hain, do, 3, car, cooey, stop. Okay? It just means stop. Is that okay? Excellent. No. The Gasta is the start. The stop is the stop. Anyway, an Englishman's talking to me about my language. Anyway. So our first victim, presenter is Nick Baker. You want to make your way over here? The main thing I always say there, even if he's rubbish, is be over the 5 minutes. Right. Shake it out. Jazz hands. Ready? Hey! Do! 3! Car! Cooey! Gasta! Next.
Slides not transitioning. So, apologies to all of the serious people who come after me because I'm just number one. Tom asked me to do this in the last second. So I know how this is going to go. Ladies and gentlemen of the class of 24, use OEPs. If I could offer you only one tip for the future of education, open educational practices would be it. The long-term benefits of OEPs have been proved by researchers and educators worldwide, whereas the rest of my advice has no advice more reliable than my own meandering experience. I will dispense this advice now. Enjoy the power and beauty of co-creating with students. You will not understand the value that the youthful naivete and energy will bring until it's faded, but trust me, in 20 years you'll look back at student work and recall in a way that you can't grasp now how much possibility lay before you both and how fabulous it really was to see open creation of new knowledge happening right before your eyes. Your individual knowledge is not as great as you imagine. Don't worry about the future, or worry, but know that worrying is as effective as trying to solve the problem of equitable access to education by chewing gum. The real troubles in your lives are apt to be things like AI, pandemics, that never crossed your worried mind, the kind that blindsides you at 5 p.m. on some idle Wednesday at a conference in Cork. Do one thing every day that scares you, like a Gasta. Don't be reckless with other people's OERs. Don't put up with people who are reckless with yours. Floss. Don't waste your time on impact factors. Sometimes your OERs will be a hit, sometimes they won't. Their value should not be measured solely in page visits. Remember the stories of changing lives through access. Forget the insults of those who think open is less than. Did you succeed in doing this? Tell me how. Keep your written workshop feedback, throw away the likely scale happygrams, and share whenever you can. But don't feel guilty if you don't share everything CC by. The most interesting OERs I know had to be shared with caution and care. Some of the most interesting projects I have still don't know what CC license to use. Get plenty of rest. Into your eyes. You'll miss them when they don't work so well anymore. Maybe you'll get tenure, maybe you won't. Maybe you'll get grants, maybe you won't. Maybe you'll leave academia at the age of 45 for a job that actually feels meaningful. Maybe you'll dance the funky chicken on your 50th work anniversary. Whatever you do, don't congratulate yourself too much or break from what you know at the time. So do everybody else's. Use your mind and privilege. Use it every way you can. Don't be afraid of what other people think of it, but use it wisely. It's the greatest instrument that academics have for making the world a better place. Create something, even if only for a few minutes a day, and share it. Know the rules and policies, even if you don't follow them. Do not read conservative media. It will only make you feel ugly. Get to know your senior leadership. You never know when they might be useful. Be nice to your students. They're your best link to the future and the people most likely to keep you grounded in the here and now. Understand that OER repositories come and go, as do standards. Maintain them both with care. Use OEP to bridge the gaps in access and equity. The older you get, the more you realize what you could have done when you were young and fearless. Live in Windsor once, but leave before it makes you hard. Live in Cork once, but leave before it makes you soft. Travel. Accept certain inalienable truths. Textbook costs will rise, political support for open will wax and wane. You too will get old, and when you do, you'll fantasize that when you were young, textbooks were affordable, politicians supported the public good, and students respected their elders. Respect elders, but mostly take great care with the knowledge that they choose to share. Don't expect anyone else to support your passion for openness. Maybe you'll have a supportive vice-chancellor, maybe you'll have a wealthy donor, but you never know when either one might disappear. Don't mess too much with version control, just clone that press book, revise, remix, and redistribute it. Be careful of consultants whose advice your university buys, but be patient with those who share knowledge freely. Advice is a form of nostalgia. Dispensing it is a way of dragging bits of lived knowledge from the garbage bin of life, wiping it off, painting over the ugly parts, and recycling it for more than it's worth. But trust me on the OEPs.
A tree, a car, a cooing stag. That was all right. Now, actually, I always say, like, some people have been down this road before, and as I said, anybody can be a presenter, but these people are going to be Gastateers. They'll get presented with a badge, and if you're from North America, it's a coaster. If you're from this side, it's just a beer mat. But it's designed by the indomitable and hugely talented Brian Matters. So fabulous. Our next speaker is Emma Beatson. Her first presentation, first time big academic conference. Lawrie asked me to go nice on her. I said, of course, no, I'll go even worse. So instead of, have you prepared for 5 minutes, Emma?
I have, yeah.
Set the timer for 4.
No, please don't do that.
Harsh, but I think ultimately fair. It'll be character building for you.
I'm already feeling terrible. I don't have music for you.
Oh, very good. Are you ready?
I absolutely
Okay,
am.
so we get the hands up. No, you're good. No, you threw down the gauntlet. There we go. Get the hands up. Now, so I just start off easy. So we're going to start off on the Hain on the left. You ready? A Hain. Head there. Pitiful. Right? I tell you, I'm not going to.
Institutions that were doing things a bit differently. And then we became a bit interested in what was driving them into existence, what was happening socially, environmentally, economically, technologically, to kind of push them, nudge them forward and encourage them, and what might happen and embed them even further. And it's these trend drivers that really dominated our work on the project. We had a huge amount of information, so we grouped them into the 6 themes that you can see there, and there's kind of intersection between them. And we really hoped that our research about these drivers of change would be useful to educators who are considering future-proofing. There's a massive amount of issues to consider, and we wanted to make the task more manageable, give a kind of heads up about what might be coming down the line, and help institutions to identify the opportunities in it. So we created a workshop that's based around 100 challenges or sort of mini scenarios of things that could happen in the future, and they're organised into our 6 themes. And participants in the workshop get a chance to think about how they could react to and prepare for some of the challenges, and then they go on to imagine their future institution that's kind of embraced those challenges. We've had over 750 people use the resources over the last half a year, which is really great. It's actually not the thing that I want to talk to you about. What I want to talk about is this, is that it seems that the disruptor institutions seem to be leading the way forwards. When we did the workshops, we didn't present any of the trends that we'd been looking into. We didn't talk about any of the disruptor institutions. And yet, the participants in the workshops, Imagine Futures, tend to be things that were based on models that the disruptor institutions were already doing. And I don't say that critically or negatively. I think it's potentially good. It means there's consensus about a way forward. But for me, it means that we should take notice of the disruptor institutions and what it is that they're doing. So let's do that. So here they are, or at least some of them. It's not an exhaustive set of examples, and there might be some that you recognise here, others maybe not. I'm calling them disruptive institutions. It's a convenient term. They might not describe themselves as that. You might not describe them as that, but what they are is institutions from all over the world who are moving away from traditions, and they've got new models of mission, operation, and delivery. So looking at these institutions, we've identified around 30 characteristics of these alternative ways of working. Some of the institutions we found do a lot of them. Some of them just do a few, maybe even one. But there's one overarching characteristic that seems to be true for most, if not all of them, and that's that they embrace the student as a consumer wholeheartedly. So what I've done is, in terms of the rest of the things that they're doing, I've grouped the characteristics into 4 groups, and I wish I had more time to talk through them in detail, but I don't. Characteristic group 1 is mission open. So this is things that institutions are doing to improve social mobility and make education accessible to those who might have extra barriers in the way to getting there. All looks like good stuff on the face of it. Group 2 I've called practical access. They're also making themselves more accessible, but less through guiding mission and more through model changes that give students flex in time or cost or how to pay or how to access learning. Group 3 place route to employment as top priority. And group 4 is a little bit more nebulous. It's where the sort of changes to organisational structure are designed to maximise efficiencies and increase the impact that the institution's having on the students and the world around them. So I whipped through those slides, and I know that you probably didn't see the detail, but there's good stuff happening, but this is the key. It's being delivered by largely profit-driven private providers. What do we think about that? Get in touch with me if you want to know.
Don't! She's denied you the fun. That was 3 seconds to spare. That was good. But it's a really good point, and I always encourage people when we are doing the Gastas. There is a seriousness here. It's an opportunity to give people a chance to have a shout out. If people have said something that's of interest, you want to come up, chat to them afterwards. As I said, it really is. It's an opportunity because they're often, they're going to be saying something interesting, apart from the next 2. So this is where, right? Because no, honestly, no. Well, like Donna, yes, but Lawrie, yeah, on so many levels. They actually asked, because there was 2 of them, could they have 10 minutes? Sadly, no.
That's a lie.
Focal Zeus.
Sultry sound of my voice.
Oh, do you like that?
No, I don't.
No,
want
she's
to.
in Bonnie Tyler, sing along.
No. Oh, okay. All right.
Okay. Okay, so we start off on the left, we're going to start off on the right. We'll get increasingly complex.
Are these working?
So by the time we get to B, then it'll be very complex. Yours will be absolutely earth-shatteringly mental. Are we ready? Hands up in the air. Right. I'm watching. I'll stop it if I see some people who don't commit. I'm someone down the back row with one hand. I'm watching you. Are we ready? We're going to the right this time. A hain, a doe. That's pitiful. Hang on, these 2 deserve your attention and your enthusiasm.
Desperate.
I'm talking about engagement. Yes.
Desperate.
Get the hands up, and I'm watching. Well, I'm watching this side. I can't see that side.
This side doesn't do it.
Okay. Are we ready? A hain, a doe, a tree, a car, a cuig, Gasta.
So, what happens when senior leadership teams show they're working? What might be the impact of radical open practice in management of a university? And what do we do if we do open management of pedagogy, of practice, of research, how we manage our universities?
So we want to talk a little bit, or at least ask questions, about where does openness and transparency intersect with this sort of sanctity of managerial discretion. And I think about how often you or any of us have discussed or argued or just bemoaned our lot in academic life at the latest edict from on high. Some of those have been discussed here today. How often have we been frustrated at yet another policy change? We've all heard our colleagues exclaim how they would not have made that decision, or we've all seen why that policy is dumb.
So we invite you today to imagine with us what radical open practice would mean in leadership in an institution.
Let's talk about trust. Openness from leaders builds trust within the institution. Are you with me? You're with me. We're fostering a more cooperative and inclusive educational environment with openness.
Too much transparency. That's the problem with trust. If we have too much transparency, that leads to information overload. And if we have too much of that going on, then we get misinformation. Then we get people not knowing what's actually going on. And that causes confusion and it causes indecision.
I thought he was going to say confusion and delay. In a crisis, open leadership can give us clarity and stability, yeah? We can guide the institution through these challenging periods with openness and transparency.
No, we agree. No, seriously, we genuinely agree on this one. I want open and transparent leadership during a time of crisis because I want to know who to blame. I want to know who to hold accountable for what went wrong.
That's just like you. Let's talk about innovation, new things, stimulating innovation by openly sharing, as we all are here today, ideas and processes. That's going to spark more innovation, like generating like. Others can contribute and refine. We don't have to think all by ourselves, as our good friend Nick said. We can think together and collectively, and that's good.
That is good, isn't it? Yeah? Isn't it really good? I want everybody to share their ideas because I want the Vice Chancellor and the President to know that it was my idea. Okay? Share with me your good ideas and I will tell the Vice President exactly how good it was and why I thought of it. Because that's a great idea.
Okay. Speaking of governance.
Were we?
Yes, I was.
Okay.
Okay. We're going to allow all staff to be valued in asking questions about decisions and processes. This is going to allow senior managers, who you invoked just recently, to more easily change their mind when they need to. They're going to pay attention to what people are saying. They're going to take seriously the priorities of the people who are talking to them, and they're going to change course where necessary.
That's fantastic.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Good.
Garodo Sullivan has just walked into the room and he's got version 42 of the strategy that we've all had a piece of writing and we've all agreed, and we're now going to take that to the Senate, and Senate are going to say, but also now we want some more changes and we're going to see all those decisions out in the open. Because we all want to have a crack at it, right? We all want to have a crack at governance because we can all do it better. So if we share all of that governance out, what could possibly go wrong? How long could it take to get something through the Senate?
Evidence-based decision-making. Now think of it. Imagine, picture if you will, your leadership is open and transparent. We would see decisions based on evidence, showing leadership by empirical processes and not based on intuition. None of this I'm going with my gut bullshit, right? But this is what's the case, and this is what needs to be the case, and that's going to be the basis of our decisions. And we're going to talk about it out loud so everyone knows why we do things.
Everybody in the room, I need you to know that evidence-based decision-making is a marvelous thing. And it works so well because I come from Brexit Island where we really paid attention to the evidence.
Vote now. Vote now.
You can clap for me or you can clap for Donna.
We're
Me?
open.
Hey,
Open.
Dom,
Hey.
Car,
Open.
Gooey,
Yes.
Stone.
Thank you.
I say John Gielgud is worried now. Well done. Brilliant. Great question. That was a lovely, 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 lovely format. So, now, Alan, I hope you're taking pointers for tomorrow. So, we're now going to welcome to the stage Cathy Essmiller and Leo Havemann. Now, come on, get them. Oklahoma. That's about the only bit I know. Okay, so some people, a little bit more physical now, if you can manage it. We're going to go up on the hain, down on the dough, up on the tree, down on the car, up on the cooig, and then the arms out for Gasta. Have you got that? A little bit complicated, but yes, you have to stand up. I know. So, no, wait. No, I love your enthusiasm, but just curb your enthusiasm, okay? So, when I shout out go, we're going to go up on the hain, okay? Are we ready? A hain, a dough, a tree, a car, a cooey, Gasta.
Hi, thank you for having us. Welcome to Beers with Leo and Kathy. And we just really, as long as no one's bleeding by the end, we're ahead of the game.
That happened yesterday.
Yes, it did happen yesterday. So first, I'd like to give a shout out and a thank you to Rajiv for recognizing Librarians' role in Open this morning. And we won't invite him to stand or anything, just in case he isn't here. But there you go. Thank you for including us in the fairy tale. And it highlights the fact that librarians actually have a very long history with dragons. Ready for the next slide. So, origin stories are important. They help us know where we came from, why we're here, and help us kind of guide our future trajectory so that you don't end up a giant Airedale chased into a grand piano by a chihuahua, which happened in real life. So this is kind of a metaphor, perhaps, for where we can end up if we are not intentional about identifying where we believe we came from and what our current state is based on and where we hope to go. And so how I got here, Kathy Essmiller from Oklahoma State University. I have a background in music education and came to librarianship through educational technology and found out that what I'd been doing my whole life, sharing resources with other people because the arts are not funded, actually had a name, and it was OER. And then I started hearing this history about how it started in 2010. And I was like, well, I've been alive a lot longer than that, but wonderful. And then all these high points of when it came to be, and then that its history was rooted in open source. So I thought all this was very interesting. But I knew that didn't really resonate with my experience. So that's how I got here. How librarians got here is based in a long history of bringing communities together to help generate knowledge and understanding. Librarians trying to provide access, make sure people can get what they need to get to, make sure they can get to the spaces and the people they need to get to, and they've been doing that for freaking ever. And so that's gonna matter here in a minute. Leo, do you wanna share how you got here? That was a surprise for him, because he said we couldn't write a script, and so I didn't, so.
Is this on? Oh, yeah, good. How did I get here? Oh, I don't know. I just got into it.
Yeah, someone just handed him a grant, and
I
here
was
he
kind
is.
of a learning technologist, and before that I'd been a librarian.
Right, there you go, and that's why we're here together. But what I'd like to share is something that Marco SV from the University of Idaho has shared, and I think it was Open Ed, well, I don't remember which one it was, 2020, but the reference slide has it, and I'm reading it so I don't mess it up. But he says, he pointed out, the conventional histories and scholarly contextualizations of open movements do not connect open pedagogy to liberatory women of color feminist praxis and scholarship on education. And he pointed to black feminist scholars Bell Hooks and Regina Austin as intellectual foremothers. And I thought that was a really interesting take on the history of open. And I think kind of deciding where are you? What are you grabbing from which history? How does that factor into what you're doing? Will kind of have an impact on us moving forward. Okay, next slide. Communities of practice, someone here is an expert on it, find them, shared vocabulary, it matters, right, as you come together, what you're talking about. Okay, so, but I took too much time on the earlier slide, so we gotta go. Okay, so, 2019, I don't know how many of y'all remember that. Yeah, so it was something, didn't have the guts to actually put up here what I wanted to put up here, but if you're curious, just Google open in 2019, and maybe a hashtag and Twitter. And I was still kind of new to this space, was interested to see what was happening, and the pushback and how the pushback was being pushed back at was stunning to me. And I think the roots of that are in where librarians came from, and if you look at the timing of some of the things that have taken place, you'll see how big a role we played. Go.
So when he asked me to co-Gasta, I tried to resist. I thought it's a long time since I worked in a library, what do I know about it? But it did seem like an opportunity to have a rant that I like to have, or at least a new version of it. I saw a quote on Mastodon the other day, which was, "Without an analysis of power, it is hard to understand inequality or much else in modern capitalism." This was from Nobel laureate economist Angus Deaton, who was slamming his profession as clueless. And I felt like this chimed with the message of my rant, which is that we cannot gain an understanding of education without an analysis of labor. Rajiv mentioned the idea of the hero's journey this morning, and this idea of the educator who just comes to openness and does fantastic things is one that we often talk about, but we need to think about the labor, and this is also in the library. Thank you.
Good, thank you. So we want to tell you that we did that on purpose because we wanted to model open as never finished.
Oh, boom. Our last one is Bea de los Arcos. Apologies for butchering that there. We're going to be really getting complicated now. One of the things I loved at the European Soccer a few years ago was the Icelandic doing the clap. Do you remember the? You have to live with that, you know. Spatial, there's enough space there. You clap on the number, so it'll be, hey. Wait. I want to build her up. I was trying to build up the, you know, the sense of momentum. Are we ready now? Hey, go, 3, Gasta.
Thank you, guys. So I'm Bea de los Arcos. I worked as a senior learning developer at the Extension School in Delft Technical University of Delft University of Technology. I always get it wrong. Anyway, it doesn't matter. I do many things, but one of the things I do is MOOCs. So the Extension School, we make MOOCs, and I like to think that I am the guardian of massive open online courses. By default, our MOOCs get shared under a Creative Commons license. But I struggled a lot, in a way I keep struggling to make people understand not only the license itself, so what is a commercial or non-commercial share alike, blah, blah, blah. It's the concept of sharing, the implications of sharing, how do you prepare for sharing, what you share, what do you not share. So I said, how can I make it easy? How can I make it so simple that they can't actually miss it? So pretty much what I did is I opened a Flickr account and I just uploaded a couple of my photographs. And immediately I started inviting my colleagues to share the photographs, and pretty much was, oh, you went on holidays. Oh, yes, look, that's my phone. Oh, yeah, that's a beautiful photograph. Would you like to share it? I've got a lovely place for you to share it. It's a Flickr account. You will keep the copyright because, of course, it's your photograph. But what I would like you to do is tell me what permissions you give others to reuse your photograph. So that was some 3 years ago. I continued to pester. The pestering just got inviting, got just bigger and bigger. So that's how we came to We Like Sharing. So We Like Sharing is a photo bank of photographs that are open, so they're all released with a Creative Commons license that each author chooses. So at the moment, we've got well over 1,200 photographs that have been contributed by more than 200 people. And remember, this is staff, students, alumni, friends, and families of any connection you have with the TU Delft is good enough to have your photograph on the repository. Again, all released under a CC license. The author chooses the license. That's the only request I say to people in order to kind of have their photograph in the repository. every description, every photograph comes with pretty much with a little text that you can copy and paste, so attribution is never going to be easier, right? And at the same time, they are all tagged because, you know, I want these photographs to be reused, I want these photographs to be found by other people. And one of the things that my course teams always forget is about the alt description. So each photograph comes with a very little text objectively describing what it is that you can see in the photographs that then can be used. Again, copy and paste job is just, I cannot get more easy than that. The QR code will bring you to be like sharing in the about. There is actually an email address if anyone wants you to contribute. But one of the things that we do every year, and this has given me the most fun since GoGN. So, you know, it's pretty close. And also, you know, kudos to Alan for helping me with the communication and the connection with OE Global. The first year, so when the repository only had like a handful of photographs in there, it was coming up to Open Education Week. And I said, well, why don't we we celebrate Open Education Week, and the way we're gonna celebrate is by having a photo competition. And in that photo competition, I asked people, can you send a photograph in which you represent what openness means to you, right? So, you know, the award is just a little something, but it's been so amazing. We've kept it for 4 years now. Just go and use the photograph, check the photographs, use the photographs. They are beautiful, non-beautiful, but they're all open.
Pain, Donna, Chewy, stop.
Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, hello. Yeah. Can I just ask people just to stand up and turn around to the audience? Anybody can be a presenter. It takes a lot to be a Gasta. Could you just stand up and give them a round of applause? So, thank you very much. You'll get your badges now presently there. I think I've just been asked about this evening. Do you want to come up, Gerard, please? Yeah.
Well, look, I suppose we need to close the day as well, right? So, look, I won't keep you long. Mostly, I think we just wanted to say thanks to everyone, to our speakers and presenters and our delegates, of course, for all of the engagement and participation. And thanks, of course, to the support team and volunteers for all of their hard work today and indeed over the last few days and weeks. I must say, and I've heard it from so many people, I think Rajiv got us off to such a great start this morning with a keynote that really set the tone and laid the groundwork for the rest of the day. I heard people saying it was such a unique combination of sincerity and scholarship. It was just great, and I was just personally so pleased that our president stayed to hear that. That was great. From the few sessions I dropped into, and from what I've heard from others, that standard and really kind of authentic and sincere engagement carried right through the various different workshops and presentations, and of course the Gasta sessions that we've just closed on. And great to see a lot of engagement online as well, folks. Just a reminder again, the Slack platform has been provided as a back channel because not everyone's on Twitter anymore, so do consider using it. But one key thing I wanted to say, because there was a miscommunication, the reception event happens in the Clayton Hotel in Cork City tonight. You're all invited. It starts from 7 o'clock. There'll be food and drink and music. Some people have, depending on your interpretation, either promised or threatened to sing a song. I see Louise there looking at me. She's going singing, definitely. We're going to try and stop this guy singing. But there's going to be a launch of a national white paper, a sectoral white paper on open educational practices. So please do consider coming along. It serves a few different purposes, but primarily it's a welcoming event and a celebration and a chance to reflect on the day as well. And we have a few people coming from our organising committee who, as I say, are going to sing a song. And in one case, I think somebody has promised to do a recitation. Isn't that right, Lawrie? You're going to do a recitation? Yeah, that's what I...
That's what I heard, yeah.
Okay, good. Okay.
Done.
Will I say something about tomorrow, or do you want to say something else about today? Okay, so just one final sentence. Tomorrow, the conference is going to begin at 9:30. We're going to hear from ALT CEO Kerry Pinney, who I think is still at the back there. And we're going to get to hear our second keynote, which is a joint keynote given by Dr. Katrin Cronin and Professor Laura Chernovitz. So please join us then. Okay, but hope to see you tonight, 7 o'clock, Clayton. Thank you very much. Yep.